Hello there YouTube, it's Gojira Prime with another Transformers video review, and today we're taking a quick look at Transformers Earthrise Megatron. Now, I just got this figure a couple of days ago from Amazon. I'd had it on pre-order for quite a while. I got this version instead of the Siege version of the character, predominantly because I couldn't get a hold of the Siege version when it first came out, and I decided instead to go for the Earthrise version when it was announced and available for pre-order. Now, from the pictures I've seen of the Siege version and comparing it to the Earthrise version, they're pretty much very similar in alternate modes. Obviously, this one is meant to be more of an Earth mode tank model for the character, while the previous version was meant to be a Cybertronian tank mode for the character. The figure's done out in traditional G1 style Megatron colors. You've basically got black, grey, and some red highlights. The tank mode is actually quite nice. I do like this mode for the character. I like the fact that it's not any particular real-world tank. They've kind of just made their own little Earth tank, which I find quite nice. There are some nice molded details on the turret. You've got these grenade launchers here. They're just molded in plastic. They don't actually fire or anything, which is a bit of a shame, but there you go. And then you've got, again, they seem to have stuck with the damage or scraped paint on the black pieces of the figure, but not on the grey pieces except here on the front section here. If I just move the turret out the way. They've also got the battle damage here as well, but this isn't visible when the figure is in robot mode. I'm not a great lover of this battle damage thing. It's okay, but it's not something I'm particularly fond of, but it doesn't spoil the figure for me. I suppose what is a bit inconsistent is the fact that they didn't continue with the battle damage on the turret section here. This turret is actually formed from Megatron's arms when he's in robot mode, and then this is obviously his fusion cannon here, and then this is his sword weapon, which turns into the turret. The turret does spin a full 360, which is very nice. And as kind of an homage to the original G1 days, you have D16 down here, which was Megatron's original serial number way back in the 1980s when the figure was first released. So all in all, it's quite a nice tank mode. The treads are not real on this, just to point out, they are just molded in there, and the figure does run on 4 little wheels. Now that's it for the tank mode, so what I'll do is I'll get the figure quickly transformed and we'll take a look at him in his robot mode. Okay, so now we have the figure in its robot mode, and he does come with weapon accessories. You have obviously Megatron's fusion cannon. If I can get this to just focus, there we go. And it's very nicely done. Very nicely detailed. Some nice black molded detailing in there. All in all, a very nice piece. And this will fit on either left or right arms. There are portholes in either one for them, but I like to stick it on his right arm, as that was the arm it was usually on in the cartoon. And then you've got his tank turret, which forms this kind of giant spear-like sword weapon. This also attaches to either arm on these ports via this peg here in the middle. I'll attach that in just a moment so you can see what it looks like. But we'll just take a look at Megatron himself, and looking at this, it's instantaneously recognizable as G1 Megatron, from the color scheme, the torso shape and detailing. This thing just screams G1 Megatron. And I have to admit, it's probably the best looking Megatron figure I've seen ever in the Generations universe line. This ticks all my nostalgia boxes. And I think for kids who are probably coming into the Generations line from series like Cyberverse, they'll instantly recognize the character as Megatron. He is a bit bulky for a Voyager class figure, especially on the back, since this is where the treads go when he's in robot mode. But they don't hamper the figure in any way, shape, or form. They're very nicely tucked away, but they do add quite a bit of size to him on the back of the figure. Now, just to get a look in at the face sculpt, if it'll focus for me, there we go. So it's a really, really nice face sculpt, and I'm pleased to say, compared to the Siege figure, which I think suffered from pouty lip syndrome, this looks a lot better than its counterpart. Let me just get that to focus back up again. There we go. So you've got a nice Decepticon logo in the middle here, and then obviously the detailing here is very G1-ish as well. What would have been nice, maybe, if they'd had the stylized decaling here on the chest piece as well. That would have been nice to have, but it's not a problem. All in all, I really, really do love this figure. It looks absolutely fantastic. The articulation is really, really good on the figure as well. His arms, the joints on mine are really, really stiff, by the way. You've got a full range of motion in the arms. It goes like that. The one problem thing I would say is, though, if you're not careful, you can inadvertently pull his arm out like this. So you do have to be a bit careful with it. And with the legs, you've got a full range of motion in the legs there. Bends at the knee, goes back so far, and goes forward so far as well. So you've got quite a full range of motion, and the head's on a nice ball joint as well, so that's got a full motion to it as well. Like I say, the joints on mine are really, really stiff, which is really, really nice as well. And then, as I said before, you can just take this tank turret, which becomes a sword weapon, and it just plugs in to the arm. If it doesn't fall apart on you, that is. Let's reattach that. So this goes on there like this. So then he has a hand weapon as well at the same time. There we go. So that looks quite good on him there as well. Again, it doesn't hinder the figure's articulation in any way, shape, or form. It just adds on very, very nicely. Now, just to do a size comparison with the figure, here he is next to the figure which has been my primary Megatron in the Generations universe figures for some time, and that is Armada Megatron, which is a leader class figure from a few years ago. And, this figure is considerably bigger than our Voyager class Megatron here, but, this is a really good representation of the Armada Megatron, while this is a really, really good representation of the G1 Megatron. Now, this figure is a repaint and a retool of the Generation 1 Megatron figure that came in the Combiners Wars line, but I don't have that figure. I went with this Armada variation instead, which is very, very nice in the green, purple, and black. And then here he is next to Transformers Classics Starscream. Now, this Starscream is pretty much the basis for the modern-day Earthrise figure. The Earthrise figure, I think, is about yay tall. But I actually like this scaling a bit better. I like Starscream to be smaller than Megatron at the end of the day, and I think this does scale very well with the Earthrise version as it currently stands. And then as a final comparison, here he is next to his Optimus Prime counterpart from the Earthrise line. Again, at the moment, this is my favorite Optimus Prime figure that I have in my collection. It's replaced both the classics and the Siege versions of these figures. But although this is counted as a leader class figure because of the trailer that comes with it, it is essentially a Voyager class figure. And just to compare them, actually, if I just turn them around, you can see that with his treads, Megatron does have a bit more bulk to him, and he also has a bit more bulk in the legs, I think, as well. Which kind of makes sense, really, that this figure, although it's a Voyager class figure, be a bit more bulkier than Prime, because Megatron was designed and built for combat at the end of the day, and Optimus Prime wasn't. So, all in all, it's a great figure, the Earthrise Megatron. It's now the de facto Megatron figure in my collection. If you can still get it, it's only just recently come out, really. I know it's at Smith's, Amazon, and other toy stores here in the UK. So if you can get a hold of this guy, definitely get a hold of him. He's definitely worth picking up, and I think he looks absolutely fantastic in my collection, and hopefully you'll think the same too. So that's my video. Hope you've enjoyed. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe button, comment below, and thank you very much for your time.